In the great epic of the Mahabharata, filled with battles, divine weapons, and dharma-shaking decisions, there stands a woman whose strength lay not in steel but in silence. Her name was Kunti, and without her, the Mahabharata would never have unfolded. She was born as Pritha, the daughter of King Shursena. As a young girl, she was adopted by her uncle, King Kuntibhoja, and from then on, she came to be known as Kunti. Even in her early years, Kunti's aura was different. She was graceful yet grounded, noble yet humble. Her real test, however, began when she was still in her youth. One day, sage Durvasa visited the palace. Known for his sharp temper and immense power, he was treated with great care and fear. Kunti, young but wise, served him with such patience and devotion that the sage was deeply pleased. As a reward, he gave her a secret mantra. With this mantra, he said, she could call upon any god and receive a child from him. Kunti, still unaware of the depth of this gift, decided to test it. She stood in the quiet of early morning and invoked the radiant sun god, Surya. And then, something incredible happened. The sky shimmered. Surya appeared before her and placed a child in her arms, a divine boy, glowing with celestial armor and earrings. But Kunti was unmarried. Fear gripped her. The child, though divine, brought with him the weight of shame. With a heavy heart, she placed the infant in a basket and set him afloat on the river, whispering prayers to the gods to protect him. That child was Karna. Kunti never spoke of him again. But in the depths of her soul, she carried the pain of a mother's love hidden away, of a choice that would echo through lifetimes. Later, Kunti was married to King Pandu of Hastinapur. He was noble, wise, and deeply respectful. She shared his life along with his second wife, Madri. For a time, they lived in joy. But that happiness was short-lived. While hunting one day, Pandu accidentally killed a sage who was in the form of a deer. In his dying breath, the sage cursed him. If Pandu ever approached his wives in desire, he would die instantly. This curse changed their lives forever. Pandu gave up the throne and retired to the forest, taking Kunti and Madri with him. It was a life of exile and simplicity, and yet, Kunti did not complain. She accepted the forest as she had accepted the palace. But Pandu longed for children. Kunti then revealed the mantra Durvasa had given her. With Pandu's permission, she invoked the gods. First, she called upon Yam, the god of justice, and gave birth to Yudhishthir. Next, she called upon Vayu, the god of wind, and Bhima was born, powerful and strong. Then she called upon Indra, king of the gods, and from that union came Arjuna, destined to be the world's greatest archer. Kunti shared the mantra with Madri, who bore the twins Nakula and Sahdev from the Ashwini gods. Pandu now had 5 sons, each divine in origin, each marked by destiny. But fate returned once more with sorrow. One day, overwhelmed by emotion, Pandu forgot the curse and embraced Madri. He died in her arms. Grief-stricken, Madri chose to leave the world with him. And Kunti was left alone, with 5 young children in the heart of the forest. She did not falter. She raised all 5 sons, not just her own, but Madri's too, with equal love and discipline. She became their mother, teacher, protector, and guide. When they returned to Hastinapur, the palace was cold. The Kauravas, their cousins, looked at the Pandavas with jealousy. Plots were laid. They were sent to a palace made of lac, flammable, meant to trap and burn them alive. Kunti sensed the danger. She guided her sons to dig a secret tunnel and escape. That night, they walked away from flames that were meant to end them, thanks to the watchful eyes of their mother. They lived in hiding, disguised themselves, attended Draupadi's Swayamvara where Arjuna won her hand. And again, when Arjuna returned home and said, "Look what I brought," Kunti, without seeing, replied, "Whatever it is, share it equally among yourselves." It was a moment of unintended destiny. Draupadi became the wife of all 5 brothers. A twist of fate, but one guided by a mother whose words carried the weight of truth. As time passed, Kunti watched her sons build a new kingdom, lose it in a game of dice, and walk away into exile once more. She remained in Hastinapur, silent, strong, and waiting. Then came the war. The Kurukshetra war was not just a battle of weapons, it was a war of dharma. And just before it began, Kunti made one of the hardest journeys of her life. She went to meet Karna, the son she had abandoned. She revealed the truth to him, that he was her firstborn, the eldest of the Pandavas. That he was not a charioteer's son, but royalty by birth. She begged him to come over to the Pandavas' side. Karna listened. His heart broke. He said, "You come to me now, mother, when I have already given my loyalty. When I have found love in the one who stood by me when the world turned away." But even in refusal, Karna showed his nobility. He promised Kunti that he would not kill any of her sons except Arjuna, and that if he were to fall, she would still have 5 sons. Kunti returned in silence. She had gained nothing, yet she had fulfilled her duty. She had tried. She had spoken the truth. When the war ended, and the dust settled over the battlefield soaked in blood, Kunti finally revealed Karna's identity to the Pandavas. Yudhishthir was shattered. He cried, "Had I known, we would have never fought him." But Kunti said quietly, "It was not your war alone. It was the wheel of destiny. And now, that wheel has turned." In her final days, Kunti renounced the palace. Along with Dhritarashtra and Gandhari, she retired to the forest, seeking peace after a lifetime of storms. There, in the quiet embrace of nature, she met her end, not with fear, but with freedom. Kunti's story is not one of sword and crown, it is a story of spirit. She was a woman who made impossible choices, who bore pain in silence, who raised heroes and watched them walk into war, who stood alone, yet never wavered. She was the mother of the Mahabharata, not just by blood, but by strength, sacrifice, and soul. Her life reminds us that true power does not shout. It endures. True love does not always protect. It prepares. And true dharma does not always give answers. It walks with questions, in silence, in shadow, and in light.